seventunafive, we have got a playoff game for the Terra Mystica Tuesday League. Um, Currently, there's no stakes, but next season, the organizers I know are toying around with the idea where the winner of this game could automatically qualify for the Premier League. Um, we have the Asia Pacific New Zealand winner, firexed. We have the American Division 1 winner, seventunafive, and we have the European winner, haligh. Matt the Lesser won the turn-based top league in addition to the actual Premier League last season. So obviously, like, this game isn't for qualifying for the Premier League, but it is a good showcase for next season. It looks like the players right now are trying to decide on what the settings should be. Um, right now, it looks like they've randomized whether there's landscapes, whether they're final scoring tiles, whether they're fire and ice factions even. All that's decided is that it's going to be on the fjords map. So that's it's pretty cool, and it looks like the game is on its way. Nope, didn't kick off this time. They're randomizing the game board too. Okay, so everything will be random. Once again, game is attempting to start. Okay, and this time we got a game going. Okay, so we are on the fire and ice map. This is like an old friend type of map for us. It is a round 6 towns game, and there are no extra factions and no extra scoring. Um, landscapes, landscapes are off as well, so this will actually closely resemble an arena season. Why is it a playoff? It's a one-off playoff game. So this one just took the winners of the European League, the turn-based league, the American division, and the Asia New Zealand playoffs or division, and they're all just playing. It's more like an exhibition than an actual playoff. But it's possible that next season the playoff match could actually determine who can automatically qualify for the Premier League. So we got Witches first. That's a very typical Fire and Ice round 6 towns type of pick, in my opinion. The Stronghold tile is in the game. With this temple event in round 2, it's not necessarily clear that you want to build a temple in round 1 anyway. So I think that Witches look very strong here. Temp Ship is also in the game. So there's 4 good, like, economic pass tiles for round 1. The Priest is very good. Priest pays off here, can also get a Spade in round 1. This 2 workers tile is always really good in round 1. It allows stronghold openings, allows double temple opening, and also early on your economy is just most constrained by workers anyway. In the event of trouble, you can always hard dig if you need to. The worker power is obviously very good because round 1 is when power actions are the most valuable, especially digs. So this allows people to compete for the double dig. And the temp ship is really good because it just lets you get on extra hexes. firexed chose to put in alchemists, who are, I would say alchemists are probably the weakest faction on this map. This is definitely alchemist's toughest map, and they can really struggle to get out a lot of dwellings because they can't necessarily just ship their way to as many dwellings. They need to do some digging. I would think that alchemists are probably likely to start on this D5 hex and try to get B3, A3, and C2. They're also likely to start on E3 to be neighbors with witches here. And depending on how aggressive witches are about digging this D6 hex, alchemists could target a town like here. This is, of course, assuming that we don't get brown or blue in the game, who are likely to start on C3 or D6 and block it off. Landscapes are off. So everything is off. There's no, like, everything was randomized, but it wound up being that there were no landscapes, no fire and ice final scoring tiles, no fire and ice factions, and yeah, fan factions, I believe, were set to be off to begin with. So we got giants. Giants make for a cool color wheel. Uh, Green, red, and black. Giants can often start either D7 or E2. Um, D7 is a little less likely if we've got a yellow or brown faction, which will cordon off this area and possibly box them in on D7. However, E2 remains a very good hex for Giants to start on because of its easy expansion. Um, and if D6 somehow doesn't get taken in round 1, then they can try to dig this way as well. Alchemists are the worst with landscapes. Well, I don't know about with landscapes. However, this game doesn't have landscapes on. I have seen alchemists do interesting things when they do have landscapes, and admittedly, it's not like I've never seen alchemists win on this map. I think that it's kind of awkward, cause, like, for alchemists, they often wind up wanting to take a lot of single dig actions on this map. Chickens, you think that nomads might be the worst? Well, I mean, nomads are in. So this is a game where I expect, just based on the color wheel and the factions that are picked, and this track with round 6 towns, I like a feeling that, yeah, witches are being bid very aggressively. firexed went 3 points on his first bid because, honestly, like, they just might be, like, 10 points better than nearest competition. I mean, I would easily bid them 10 points better than nearest competition, maybe like 20. And yeah, haligh agrees. haligh bids 20 points on witches. I think we're likely to see what other people's opinions are now. 7-5 likes giants more than nomads. So, to your point, chickens, about nomads being possibly worse than giants, I think that that's pretty interesting. Nomads, their issue is that they struggle with connecting. I think that they can often expand very well economically. Like, they can get this town very, like, even if nomad or giants are on D7, right? They're going to be able to bridge through here quite nicely. They can, like, if they get shipping, then they can do this type of stuff, get on a ton of hexes. They could start on the 2 workers and even open stronghold, and then, you know, they can get out a bunch of dwellings very rapidly. They're going to have an amazing economy. Their problem is mainly going to be how are they going to score if they don't have scoring favors, and how are they going to be able to win network if they can't connect. It's not clear that nomads have an easy path to connection, but if they do connect, then they can obviously be competitive, especially with stronghold type of opening. Chickens, you think that witches might go to 0? I think that seems like a lot. We don't see a lot of 0 bids, and this isn't the worst color wheel for everyone. I think that it's reasonable to expect that alchemists can potentially get D6 and C3. Like, we can look at the initial pass tiles, right? I think there's a big question on what nomads take. Giants very clearly prefer to get onto this 2 workers tile. They always want to open strongholds, especially in a matchup with nomads in it, and round 2 temple scoring. So they would love to get the 2 workers tile. However, I think that they could also be happy with temp ship. They open up with a workers action, and then they're able to ship to G5, maybe spade G6 and get onto G7. Like E2, you could take the workers action, open with a stronghold, and if you have temp ship, just take G6 and G7. It protects, like, you get G6 away from witches in that case. Jekyll, you're wondering whether alchemists are this much worse than witches? That's an interesting question. Honestly, alchemists are so fragile. So the cool thing about alchemists this game is that they could get this E3, D6, C3 town, because neither brown nor blue is in the game. The question is, how much do witches like to take D6? In my opinion, I don't think witches should really be taking D6 in round 1, like, ever in this matchup. However, that's always a risk, right? Alchemists, I think, will wind up, like, in my experience, alchemists wind up single digging a lot on this map. Single dig is not the most efficient action. And they also struggle a little for town space. Now, we're kind of assuming E3 and D5 start, and then alchemists would need both shipping and a spade. Um, let's say that they get the priest, and therefore they have shipping. Um, then they would need to be able to get single spade in round one in order to expand nicely. I don't think that that's impossible. I know that's pretty plausible here. Um, they can do well in cults with no cult factions. That's true. I mean, if we see 3 stronghold openings, then alchemists could like sneak the fire cult and the water cult or something. Those have the best rewards down the line. Get some points off of this event, and then yeah, like I think that alchemists could have a game plan here. Their game plan might be, in my opinion, I think that this town is pretty good for alchemists. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the priority, but I do think that it's good. I think that there's also an argument to be made that the H8 town that Darklings sometimes like can be good for like opening with your sanctuary down here. If nomads open on H7, then this might be good. Or if giants open on G7, then you might see alchemists come over here. It gives expansion to like these blacks over here as well. The only thing that's a little tricky is connecting, but usually you're going to want 3 ship as alchemists anyway, and you're going to want H6. Arguably, alchemists might not be looking at network points this game, despite being alchemists, simply because the other 3 factions are so economic oriented generally. Round 6 towns is always like a very, very interesting to see like who's going to make all those towns. I think that witches have a good shot at 3 towning here. If they start double center, E5 should be unthreatened in round 1. So even without looking at the west, right, witches should have a bridge sanctuary town here, and then they could possibly get a stronghold town through here, or they could just bridge through here. That would be 1 town, or this could make it 2 towns if they come through here and across like this. I think that giants are very likely to try to town with H5, so, or like to use these 2 reds to town. So I think witches probably won't make a south center town, but then they could either make a town up here in the west or through here in the west. So I think the fact that witches can make 15 points off of their towns, plus have a very good shot at making 3 towns late, is great. Alchemists worse on network than giants. Jekyll, you are outraged by this. I don't think that that's like. I think giants are sneaky good on this map. Giants very often hit 15 network on this map. They can play very, very economically. And, you know, with these fire cult workers, with these round 4 trading posts, I think that their economy is going to be very strong. Like with the nomads, I think that they're going to struggle with scoring a little bit. Now, I do like that giants. I do like that giants start at 40, so that'll help. And I also think that giants never really struggle to connect on this map the way that nomads do. Nomads are trying to figure out where their second dwelling goes, which is one of the issues with nomads here. They just generally have issues finding spots with both neighbors and connection and expansion. Like H7 is a very nice hex because you could get giants as a neighbor on G7 or something. And you could possibly entice alchemists over here. It also lets you ship over to I6 very nicely to hit natural yellows. But do you really care that much about hitting your natural yellows if you can't wind up connecting in the end? Like H7, you're pretty unlikely to be able to dig through the east because if giants are here or like witches like take these hexes over here, you're not going to be able to cut through here necessarily. D4 is, I think that this is an attempt to bring witches to D3, or they're saying, hey, if you don't come to D3, then I'm going to open with a stronghold and then sandstorm D3. Giants go double center, which I'm not crazy about this move. I think that D7 is very likely to be lost, and this is almost in no way going to be a town. So I'm actually not crazy about this move. Jekyll, you think that alchemists might get double dig? I think alchemists are likely to get double dig if they get a power tile. So we'll see if that does happen. I guess witches are never getting temp ship here. Do witches get the priest? Maybe witches get worker power. If witches do get worker power, then they will be um, winning the race to double dig probably. In which case they might be able to take d6 and e5 in one fell swoop, locking up like a non sanctuary town here, 4-hex bridge down. Nomads are trying to figure out both where to place their dwelling and what power tile to take. Raphael, you think that alchemists don't have a good place to double dig? That's a pretty good argument, but yeah, that is a pretty good argument because they won't have shipping. I think that the alchemist getting double dig idea kind of relies on alchemists getting temp ship here. As like a hypothetical, couldn't you imagine alchemists digging d6 and b3, and then it is like a trading post round and temples are next round. It's possible that they just build d6, b3, a3, c2, and then make a trading post, and then temple next round, grab c3 next round. We'll also see like what giants are up to here. They could be interested in taking c3 here with their giants are on temp ship, so we're going to see where giants want to spade. They could take c3. They could also take g6, which I think is probably like the more traditionally solid move. So nomads did take the 2 workers. This, to be clear, is not like a guarantee that they're going to open with a stronghold. This could be like just temple and like see what else comes to them, or it could be double temple. It could be a lot of things. Nomads don't need witches as a neighbor. They have alchemists right here. So I think that witches might be losing d3 here, given that nomads place this way. And I think that this way is like a very good way for nomads to place if they want to connect. They should be able to beat giants at this red hex and probably to this yellow hex g2. So then they only need one of basically b4, b5, or c3 to connect through here, assuming that they get a4 as well. Jekyll, you would always open stronghold as nomads here. I think that that's probably a good call. The placements do suggest a stronghold opening because I4, I5, and I6, or I5 and I6 can all be built together. Matt winds up on worker power and decides to upgrade on C4. C4 gives nomads leech, but also invites nomads leech instead of alchemists. And I believe that this is kind of in preparation for D6 getting dug. Because if D6 gets dug, then witches are going to get extra leech. Giants have the option to take the 2 workers here, but they decide to just immediately upgrade to maximize their leech capability. They also, of course, decided to upgrade in the center. So with everyone upgrading immediately, witches have been offered double dig. Yeah, and they do take it. Without shipping, in order to get out as many dwellings as they can, they want to double dig. Witches do lose out on this air spade, presumably, if they're unable to gather the power for a priest now. Haligh advances ship right away, wants to get the single dig onto b3. I think that no one should contest the single spade at this point. Zikab, you think that it could be 4-town nomads? I mean, yeah, 4-town nomads seems pretty possible, right? You bridge town through here, that's a 4-hex town. Then you sandstorm through d3 to d1, that's a 4-hex town. This guy here is 3 hexes already, and then giants are not here yet. Maybe you ship over here, and then try to town through here. Or actually, I guess for connection purposes, your towns are from I6 to I3, D4 to D1, and then maybe you make a 3-hex sanctuary town up here. It's a lot of structures, but I mean, stronghold nomads, round 6 towns, you want a ton of structures, so you don't think that they can, but you're rooting for it. I think that it's not out of the possibility to stronghold. It's hard to connect in 4-town. but I think it's doable. I think that actually, it depends on if they get I6, right? I actually think that the connection route means going up through G2, not I6. But I6 is so much better economically speaking. Um, with 16 structures, they could get G2 as well, like as not part of a town, but it's tough. Raphael, you think the connection path needs to be east? I was thinking that east was not happening because giants would be on G7 and beat them here. I still think that giants are likely to take G6 and then get onto G7 like pretty cleanly, but we're going to see how that actually shakes out in practice. Not connecting is no big deal. It's possible that it's no big deal. Like this track is very economic, right? Round 4 trading posts into round 5 dwellings into round 6 towns offers a ton of scoring possibility. However, when you play this economic in your stronghold nomads, you're expecting to win network here anyway, right? Maybe you're not winning network over witches. Anyway, haligh now has the ability to single spade. Of course, the single spade would be on B3. Fun fact, Matt the Lesser, I believe, took the workers here. Oh, no, sorry, Giants took the workers. Matt got the priest. Okay, so Matt is getting this cult spade anyway. So this priest is obviously going to air. And then Matt will build E5, and then the cult spade will go on F5, probably. There is also a line where this becomes a shipping move here. Like, it would not be completely insane for Matt to advance ship and then build G6, E5, A6. That would leave him in a huge coins hole, though. He would be down to 0 coins if he advanced ship and built 3 dwellings. I think it's more likely that we see a priest to air, and then... But the question is, what is C4? Is C4 going to be a stronghold? That's really the question, right? I think that advancing ship is probably not that likely with the spade event and the coins event, both benefiting a priest to air. So yeah, I'm very curious what this is. haligh decided to take the single spade, and he built a dwelling right away. I'm not sure what that's about, because you expect alchemists in general to take Earth 1 with their temple, but like there's no threat on B3, so he could have secured the single spade and not built B3. I wonder if this won't be Earth 1. This could be like Earth 2, and that would be a pretty interesting line. Round 2 is temples, so he could try for like a round 2 temple for Earth 1. Not sure, of course, what haligh's plan is, but we'll see soon. Nomads, I believe, are the only ones who have not taken a power action here. The only power action that remains is the bridge. It's been like a massive, massive leech party in the center. We're going to find out what nomads want to do here. They could just build 2 dwellings. They could take the coins later. It looks like giants took the coins here, which makes a lot of sense. Giants are either going for C3, B5 or G6, G7. I think I would probably lean toward the G7 line because these hexes seem like a little more contested, and giants seem to be likely to connect through the east this game with D8. Nomads want to see if witches stronghold. I see. Yeah, that's a very good point. But I don't think that firexed is going to get that opportunity. Like, you would have to basically burn power on a bridge here, and that would be a big waste of time. Yeah, Matt, by taking the priest, Matt can send the priest next round. So even if he took a bridge here and like built B6 or something, then he sandstorms D3. Oh, okay, so he just goes for it. So he doesn't take advantage of this 2 hexes for 1 go opportunity. This is tough on witches. This is kind of a bad break that like you don't necessarily expect. Don't you get D3 either way? Uh, you're right, Zakob. You do get D3 either way. Like if you want D3. The only thing is, you might want I5, I6 instead. You might want to build 2 dwellings instead of 1. I think this is the right move, because next round you wouldn't be able to get 2 hexes for 1, and you want to pass early onto these 7 coins, right? Like, nomads, what they really want is coins, once they open Stronghold. So they can pass now, they collect some points, they can pass onto these coins, they can open with a coins action, or they can just open with an Earth 1 rush even if that's what they feel like. So coins and Priest to Fire. Not sure what you're talking about there, Zikab. Um, you mean a 5-power Priest to Fire? Or which, I don't know which player you meant should take Priest to Fire. I do like Nomads and Alchemists kind of buddying up here in the West. That's something that like makes Alchemists a little better than they sometimes are in matchups here. Yeah, okay. No priests. Okay. You're just drunk. That's fine. It's a good time to be drunk, watching this game. Okay, so Giants chose to come up here. This is pretty surprising to me, but I thought that G6 and G7 seemed more likely. However, to be fair, Nomads are not like Nomads are kind of far from hitting G7. C3 is worse for Nomads than it is for Witches. G6 is bad for Witches. C3 is bad for Nomads because Nomads like to connect through here. Connecting through the east is very arduous because this I4 hex is not connected to the west either. They would need to come all the way. They would need to get I3, G2, and then come through here, and then come through here in order to connect to C5. If they don't get F5, which I don't see why Witches should give them F5, they also seem likely to need E6 or something, which is very arduous. Indeed, it's water too. So the only thing that I'll say about Alchemist taking water 2 here is that I have seen Zevok do this. Zevok won a game as Alchemists where he took water 2 in round 1. Then round 2 he went for Earth 1, which is presumably what haligh is planning here. And he got, crazy cult rewards, crazy cult points. I think that someone else here did call out that Alchemists have a good chance at, with all these stronghold opens, which has decided to open Temple for Fire 1. With these 2 stronghold opens, it does seem likely that there will be chances to play for cult points. Like the Priest to Fire is going to be very good. Priest to Water, like Water 2 already. Lots of good opportunities. I like this from haligh. Yeah. 2 workers. Water 2 and Spade and Priest later. Yep. Zakov asking, did Matt get double dig and Priest and is now capped on power? Yes, he got all of the above. He upgraded with his first action, then he double dug, immediately built D6, got a whole bunch of leech from Nomads, got a whole bunch of leech from Giants, and the second upgrade for Alchemist gave 2 power as well. Then he took the Priest and had 0 power, sent this Priest off, and then the rest of the upgrades bumped him up. And now he's on this, which seems to imply that he's advancing ship this round to get out more dwellings. But that's no guarantee. firexed does indeed take the coins. We were saying that coins are what you want as stronghold nomads, and firexed obviously agrees with this evaluation. The track says to build a temple. I think that the 2 factions that open strongholds seem likely to build that temple this round. But we're about to find out how they value things. Giants actually have enough. Like, Giants do have only enough workers to build a temple. But they might be interested in, like, perhaps taking the double dig action or something. Now, I don't usually love taking double dig as Giants, but uh, especially when you have other needs, such as coins or whatever. But it's not impossible. Witches here are rushing for a favor tile. It looks like to me. Um, yeah, like this basically has to be a temple because otherwise this trading post is really just preventing them from advancing ship and building their dwellings. Um, with giants coming up here, we mentioned that this was bad for nomads connection hopes, but I think that this is actually sneaky tough on witches as well because all that giants need to do now is get one ship and then they're annoying witches up on A5 again. Um, so I think that like this hex definitely bad for nomads that giants are here, but also sneaky bad for witches because A5 is like a little bit under threat. Giants don't have the shipping yet, but this hex definitely giants want it sometimes. So yeah, um, you don't like that giants are helping witches instead of hurting them. I think that if giants wanted a temple, which it looks like they do, then they did need to upgrade near witches here. But it does seem like it's also true that it's not clear that they necessarily needed to build a temple this round. That said, like I think that a lot of economic factions could see this and be like, "Hey, we'll go temple into sanctuary or something." Um, I think like the most solid feeling temple is probably this Nomad's temple. Wow, wow, haligh put a sanctuary for Earth One. That seems like a tremendous value on Earth One from haligh. First of all, this is almost certainly not never going to be a town. You need a bridge and 3 digs, and this is a natural green, which both giants and witches want. Um, this is also a temple scoring round. Temples also produce priests. So haligh just said that like, hey, the 22 points that I'm going to earn from Earth One this game are more valuable than the 4 power than like the 4 victory points I can earn here, plus uh, all like the extra priest, like the extra 2 or 3 priests probably, um, plus the ability to put my sanctuary somewhere else. So I think that this is a pretty iffy. Yeah, Raphael, I think that that's pretty iffy as well. Haligh declined power. You thought that it was stronghold. Nope, nope. Haligh is doing his thing where he marches to the beat of his own drum. Um, it's pretty crazy, right? Um, so nomads here are the ones who have been Earth One blocked, so they're deciding if they still want to make a temple or not. They could also take a power action now that there's no real rush anymore. They decide to take a priest. So I think that we might actually be seeing a ship upgrade from nomads now. Though again, there's such good rewards on the cults. I wouldn't be shocked either to see the priest go to water, and then firexed could temple for water 1, and then that would get to step 4. Matt immediately responds with a priest to water, seeing that priest action. So obviously the priest to water puts to rest any hopes for this priest to go to water. I think it's probably more likely either to go to Earth or to advance shipping now. Zakab, you think that this might be Fire 1. That's pretty interesting. Well, we're about to see. The priest doesn't need to go to Fire in order for Fire 1 to be good, right? Like, this is enough to get this worker anyway. The priest would just be 1 worker coming back. I mean, that said, it would be 2 coins and a worker, right? That's not so bad. Yeah, indeed it is Fire 1. So nomads now have both the Sanctuary and Fire 1. So it's like a very, very economic start for nomads. It's going to be a real shame if they can't turn this into network points because I think that they're just going to have like all the structures now. We're probably seeing D2 built, I would assume. So interesting, like after round one was just like immediately the double spade got taken by witches and the single spade got taken by alchemists. Neither of the spade actions has been taken yet. I think it's very unlikely that Matt takes it here. This stronghold tile looks like it's under some contention. I did forget that haligh was on the stronghold tile. So this sanctuary is like a little less bad because of that. Now it's bad for the priest production and it's bad for the towning. However, the 4 points from this tile are just as good as the 4 points from here. I guess haligh did miss out on the chance to get 5 points from the track here, but that's probably more minor, knowing that he's on this. And this is also good for haligh because it gives him a reason to fight for this tile. Everyone's going to be fighting for this tile this game. But now haligh has like a reason to as well. Matt the monster. Matt, it doesn't look like, so with this hex gone, I would say that Matt is probably pivoting toward a no stronghold strategy. He made a second temple, and over here, his workers aren't great. So it would be very, very expensive for him to make a stronghold on d6. He would need the workers action instead of the coins action. I'm like, generally, yeah, he's on temp ship, so he's just going to build a bunch of hexes. He's going to build g6, a6, and d9 if giants let him. Giants, they might want to rush this red hex, but they might also just recognize that it's likely dead. So giants may just try to lock up some of this territory up here. They might dig here. They might just try to get, be able to connect with d8. It's interesting what giants do. Yes, agreed, chickens. Agreed. They are Stronghold Witches is probably dead now that d3 is gone. So that's why we see double temple. Matt also doesn't have the workers for that. So Matt's just, yeah, g6 goes. So it's probably just going to be a6, d9, d10, d11, with a chance that a5 gets like a spade or something, because a5 is under a bit of threat from giants. Nomads, in the meantime, managed to get onto this pass tile. Really, really strong for them. Matt snaps off the coins right away. Makes enough sense. Wondering if we're going to see Matt have a quick round. This TP tile, heading into round 4 trading posts with 3 coins on the trading post tile. We're going to see like who pays attention to this. haligh, meanwhile, upgraded here. haligh is looking for a stronghold. This is clearly going to be water 1 from Nomads. Yep, it's water 1. I like that. Nomads need to make their stronghold action and then they're ready to pass. Giants also strongholds. I believe this will also be water 1. It is water 1 as well. Witches are now looking at missing out on water 1, but I think that they might just pass it up. I don't know for sure if witches are going to rush for water 1. They're on temp ship. They only have 4 workers. I think that they want a lot of worker economy this game. But indeed, they do go for water 1 as well. Yeah, I don't know if this is... Oh, okay, I guess water 1 is really good because it gives the later spade. Who's going to pass 1? Or who's going to pass first? That's an interesting question. So I'm not crazy about this sanctuary for water 1. Yeah, haligh's not happy about this. But, I mean, to be fair, haligh here should probably be looking to stronghold anyway, right? I would imagine haligh takes the workers, then builds a stronghold. Oh, haligh didn't realize that he's been declining power. He has the new option checked off to decline all power, and he didn't realize that he had been doing it. That's... yeah. Oh man, that's brutal. Yeah, haligh normally takes all power, but he's been declining it, and he didn't realize that was happening. That's so painful. Yeah, we all thought that it was like a little strange and like maybe he was going for like a stronghold in declining that power, but now it turns out it was just like a mistake from the game. Um, that's rough. We're gonna see how he chooses to use this power before he turns this into a stronghold. I would imagine that taking the workers might be the best thing to do, but it might just be converting it to coins and saving a few victory points. Um, yeah, he he just saved himself from four four VP. Yeah. Um, so I mean, Halai's having a bit of a think here now that he's realized that like part of the reason why his game is not going the way that he wanted is because of just like game interface issues. He indeed does go for the workers here. Um, so yeah, the stronghold is coming. It'll cost him 6 victory points to convert his power down, but he will be able to get 5 of those victory points back right away. firexed is now thinking. firexed has yet to use the stronghold ability, so he can't leave the round yet. Giants can't leave the round yet. Witches could leave the round. But they have so little stuff on the board that I'm not sure that they can really use this trading post tile that well. Like, they only have one place to make a cheap trading post, that's D6. This will be an expensive trading post. And he doesn't have workers right now either. So yeah, we got some issues for witches. I would say that right now, Giants don't look like they have too many issues. Like, they're going to lose I3, but I think that they were always losing I3. Their biggest issue is that their stronghold might be stranded, so they only have 2 town spots currently. But with G7, which I assume that they get, we'll see if they can secure G8 from witches. Then they could try for a bridge town here, or just like a digging town here. So Giants are looking at 3 clear town spots. I think that nomads should like have a very good chance at this town spot over here. You guys love the nomads game. Ghostly, you can't think of an option that's less haligh than auto decline. Yeah, well, it's almost like it's kind of haligh like because it's so wacky to do something like that, right? Like no one should do it, so like haligh doing it is like a little bit on brand, like almost paradoxically. So nomads did indeed use their sandstorm. They took I5. So Giants are the ones now. Oh, Giants took G6. So Giants should be able to get onto either of these pass tiles, which I think that they should probably be looking at passing now. I think that they might be considering advancing ship now, but the value of getting onto this tile just seems huge right now. I will say that there's potentially a question of how valuable is it to build all these trading posts this early. A lot of games by round 3, a lot of players have built out like all their dwellings. However, yeah, okay, so that's what Giants do. They take the TP tile and they're going to get the coins action. They have 5 dwellings on the board. They're going to get out a 6th. So they're probably only building 2 trading posts next round, right? Maybe they build a 3rd. Like this round 4 TPs is not going to be as strong as like it often is for a lot of players. Which is, I believe that they did priest to worker in order to build A6. Where did their other priest go? They advanced ship to 2. I don't really know what that's about. Like, it's not clear to me why Matt decided to advance ship a 2nd time here, because it doesn't look like he's getting to F3 for like 3 ship or anything, and he's not on the ship scoring tile. So it's not really clear to me why Matt here decided to advance ship there. Nomads just keep building out stuff. I like it. They're on like a valuable pass tile, so other players may just stall for it. Witches this time goes 3 power to a worker. They missed out on the worker's action because haligh took it. I think that was a very clever move by haligh to take the workers before making the stronghold. I mean, it might not have just been like super clever. It might have been like obvious, but like it was a good move. Nomads have water 1. They've got 1 town spot completely locked up. They've got a second one completely locked up. They've got the stronghold, and there's really no one who has the shipping or incentive to bridge block in order to block off this town. The question is, how many trading posts are they making next round? I would say the answer is probably 1, 2, 3. That would be 9 coins already, building these 3 trading posts, and then maybe sandstorming I3 for their 4th action. They might want to buy a bridge as well. It looks like 3 towns for the nomads, unless they get temp ship. No, they didn't get onto temp ship. Yeah, so we're gonna see what nomads wind up doing here. Witches have passed. They have a choice between these 2 tiles with points on them. The priest makes no sense. They already have 2 native priest production. I think witches are in trouble here. I think that giants being up here was pretty annoying for them. The pressure on A5 has been there, but probably worse for them was this sanctuary for water 1. I think that this was probably not the initial plan that Matt had. I could be wrong, but like this coin situation does not look good for witches. And I still don't really understand what that increased ship was for. Okay. To be fair, they can still build F3. They might have 3 town dreams. Like, I don't think that anyone is going to be kind enough to neighbor them up here. So their 3rd town, if there were to be one, would have to come all the way like over here, or like a very expensive digging town over here. I mean, I guess to be fair, like it's not impossible that witches dig out this town. They could like dig 5 hexes if they eventually get the economy to advance digs. While it was expensive, they did manage to build these 2 dwellings, so maybe I'd be a little hard on them. You guys like H7 for alchemists. That would be a new town spot for them, for sure. Right now, alchemists are looking at, they have 1 town carved out. If they don't bridge, then they can turn this into 2. They are on this ship tile, which is great for them. They don't have digging yet, so this round won't be full of digging. All those fireworkers are coming in to play. I think that we're going to see how everyone uses all their resources. So giants are on a giant stack of resources. They desperately need B5 here in order to lock up this town space, which I think that they should be able to get pretty easily. Nomads bridge early. I think I like this. I think nomads definitely want to make that town. It also looks like they're giving up on connection. They have yet to ship, so this is going to be like a stretch goal type of town. Because giants, of course, are going to take G7. So like the idea of nomads connecting involves I3, G2, H7, H8, and E6. Now, granted, that's a lot of structures just required to connect. Now they have the stuff that they can do that, but 5 structures plus 3 more would be 16 structures. Yeah, I mean they could do that. They could connect, but that's probably not like priority 1 now. You guys are wondering where haligh's other towns. That's a very valid question. If he doesn't take H7, alchemists are playing culty though. They neither advanced ship nor advanced on the exchange track. Giants, seeing that, decided to upgrade B5. Makes a lot of sense. Nomads just building out B6. They will start making their TPs very shortly. I would not be that surprised to see D8 built, but it might not happen either. Not known for sure. Giants still on no shipping. So we have Giants and Nomads both on no shipping. Haligh is happy that he's able to accept Leech again, so that's great for him. So A1, B2, C1. Yeah, I think that this is a town up here for Haligh, but like it's not a great town, right? It's very expensive digging wise. It obviously does nothing for him in terms of network. It would be fun for him to try to get H7 and dig this stuff, but like this is the issue with Alchemist, right? Your worker production. If you're unable to get a ton of dwellings out, then like this is just really rough. Matt has put up 1 TP. I think that if I were Matt, I would still be kind of worried about A5, but at this point there's legitimate bridge pressure as well. So firexed makes his first TP. I think that Nomad spot here is great. Nomads are, like, aside from the connection issue, Nomads have had the fewest issues and kind of like the best type of game. Giants also have both of the scoring favors, and they haven't really been disrupted this game. Like, I don't think A4 is particularly disruptive to Giants. So nothing has really gone wrong for Giants this game. I just think that starting D7 was like a little underwhelming. It got them the leech that they needed to get both scoring favors and the track, but now I'm not sure exactly what they do. Giants finally advanced their shipping. So this is great news for Matt. Matt really wants a neighbor on G7 so that he can make another trading post here. But it does look like after securing A5 that he might not necessarily have the stuff to do it. He did lose this hex up here, so he might. I could see Matt putting a priest off, and then that gives him the power that he can burn to make coins for the TP. And yes, that is indeed what he does. He puts the priest to air, so then he'll get leech. Oh, hey, there it is. So you guys were calling this, right? Alchemist should take H7. Haligh finally does it. It's great. I guess Haligh had to buy a priest for this after putting the priest to water. So this is a very cool Alchemist game because it has involved such late digging. Normally as Alchemist, you dig pretty early, or you advance digging like relatively early. But here Haligh is relying heavily on the double dig action. He dug this yellow hex and this yellow hex both. That's really rough for firexed, by the way, in my opinion, that the opponents targeted these yellow hexes this way, but I guess like that's just the life you lead as Nomads on this map. But yeah, losing like firexed. I mean, to be fair, firexed never even bothered upgrading shipping, so like this is not that unexpected. But now Haligh has a third town spot. He can dig through here. He can dig through here very easily, and then he just needs A2 or something. So suddenly Alchemists look like they might be in the best position because these two cult digs are going to be huge for Alchemists, right? Like they can just put them in safe spots like A1 and A2. No one can really touch these hexes. Once they take H8, if Nomads don't advance ship, then they could cult dig these as well. So it's very good. Nomads are looking at 3 towns. They have the points lead right now by like quite a fair margin, though. Ooh, Giants take workers action. Okay, so I do like that. The workers action is going to let them put out another trading post in addition to the hex that they want to dig. I would think that Giants might want like G8 and H9 and then a trading post here or something. That would allow them to dream about another town, a third town. Though of course they're losing G9. They can't make a 5 hex town because Alchemists are building this round. Matt passes. Has Matt is one coin or one power short of coins action, but I do think that G8 is probably getting built this round. Oh, I guess not. I guess not. Shows what I know, right? I thought that Giants were likely to build G8s and then make a trading post here, and then get this. But I guess that there is like this. I assume that this is kind of a gamble from Giants that, hey, G8's safe. You know, like that's what they're saying. They're noticing that Nomads can't really respond to I3 right now, and they're just getting greedy for this extra red. And I think that that's probably the right move as well. I think it's very cool. Haligh probably builds G9, makes a trading post here. Nomads wind up passing a little. Well, they made 3 trading posts. I don't think that they're really going to make a 4th. They wind up passing onto this tile, which continues to be great. Nomads really need H6 now. That might become their first action. Like, I don't really see a huge reason for Alchemists or Giants to dig this, especially because that would form a town for Giants early. But, like, Nomads might feel the pressure and panic dig H6. So that's like a small subplot that we might want to pay attention to next round. Matt doesn't get coins. That's correct, because Matt does get coins because Giants wanted to build this trading post anyway. Giants always wanted to build this trading post, to be fair. So Giants are going to lock up this I3 hex now. That allows them to get onto. No, they're not going to get this past out. Well, we might see if there's a fight, right? Giants are going to build I3, and then it's going to be on Alchemists. Alchemists will build this. Giants can put a priest to a cult, and then there's a question of, hey, what's going to happen here? There's I3. I wonder if there's a world where witches prefer bridge over coins here. It's possible that's blasphemous, and that witches are going to try to aggressively advance shipping, get all the way out here to hit these greens. But witches really need to there's only 2 bridges left this game. Giants could very easily bridge block. Giants want to bridge here, for sure. So yeah, so it's not clear if Witches can afford to float this bridge. Because Giants will definitely take G8 and then bridge here if Witches just take the coins and don't have the power to bridge. Looking at it, I think that Nomads should definitely get greedy and not take this hex, especially if coins are there. Then they should definitely take the coins. There's no need to panic dig H6. I think it would kind of be insane for haligh, who doesn't have advanced digs, to waste a single dig getting this. Giants forming their town early just to kill Nomads doesn't really make sense to me either. Giants want to get in position to take this bridge. I think Nomads should do what's best for them without panicking about other players, and float this hex one round. Haligh's points have actually gone down because they don't have water 1, I guess. So these TPs are points neutral when they're converting coins. He's trying to figure out what to do. He's considering single digging. I think that he might be considering single digging E6 and then building this. I will say, don't look now, but it does look like this might be one town. Alchemists, I think, are trying to figure out if this is one town or 2 towns up here in the upper left. If Alchemists want to fight for this bridge as well, then that's a huge issue for everyone, right? Witches, etc. Alchemists are also trying to figure out if they want a 4th TP, and what type of conversion they should be doing if that's the case. the fourth TP, like they're never scoring for water 1 and they're passing on to the TP tile. We're gonna see what call they make. Yeah, so it is another TP for haligh, and haligh makes it on A3. So this seems to be a concession, like, okay, alchemists are not going to try for this town over here. They are instead just going to, they are going to try to make this its own town. Because the TP up here basically says, okay, all I need is A2 to make this town. I don't need to bridge. I think witches and giants are both kind of sighing in relief at that. There's one cult spade. I assume that we're getting these 2 cult spades because nomads have no shipping. Giants don't have that shipping. A2, I guess, and then I8. This could be around that giants take double dig. They might want both G8 and B4. So there's one of the spades. Here's the other spade, yep, as we thought. So we're going to see what Matt does. Matt could take the coins, could take a bridge. Tough call. Not easy to make this decision here. Coins are good for the shipping. Yeah, it just takes the coins. Okay. We're going to see what happens with this bridge situation. Very interested. Matt doesn't even have the power to take the bridge anymore. Nomads wind up securing this hex because they're not offered anything that they want anymore, which makes sense. This town is worth so many points. All the points. Nomads could pass early here, but I'm not sure that they're ever advancing ship this game, so I'm not sure if this tile is that attractive to them. They can outlast haligh, and it's not shocking if they can outlast haligh, because haligh does not have advanced digs for stalling, does not have a lot of priests, only has water 1, water 2, and possibly like a single spade action to like keep him in this round. And to be fair, haligh wants to pass early too, right? Haligh wants to pass onto this guy. Haligh also just has a hilarious amount of coins, so no more down converting for alchemists this game. All their power is workers now and digs, workers and digs. Matt's worker economy is still not like amazing. He has 11 more workers left this game currently. If he doesn't get onto like another pass tile, doesn't take a power action or anything. So that does seem like a modest 2-town type of game, if that is what happens. Now 11 workers is enough to like build out all of this stuff, so he could end with a stronghold and 2 temples on his board. Though likely he probably wants Fire 2 this game. This has all the makings of a town, so he's still dreaming. He might still be dreaming big. Might be more like a backup option at this point too. firexed probably wants to build as many dwellings as he can here. So I would, if I were firexed, I would just be rushing out all my dwellings now. What's tough is that without shipping, he can't really make any dwellings without forming his towns now. Like he could build A9, but then B1 towns up early. A7 or B7 also towns up early. There's nowhere to build here. And does firexed really want to advance shipping this game? He really needs 2 shipping, right? Like, unless he wants to spend a dig on F2 just to get to G2. 2 shipping lets him hit B2 and G2. That might be like a nice way that he can get out these final dwellings and score on this dwelling round. But it's almost like a catch-22, right? Advancing ship means that you want to take advantage of this tile, but stay in the round that long, and you're going to lose this tile. firexed's best bet now is probably just to take all the moves that he can to stall for the alchemist tile. This trading post tile should be good. Alchemists currently are a bit short on this. If they want to advance digs twice, that's already 4 workers. And then fire 2 is 2 workers, that's 6. And then to dig these guys is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 plus 6 would be 14 more workers. They're about 5 short of that. Now, all their priests could be workers. Well, 2 of their priests can be workers. So that would bring them to 11. A worker's power action could bring them to 13, and then a priest town or a worker's town could make up the rest. So I do think alchemists are going to hit their 3 towns. It's going to be a little ugly, but they won't have to do coin conversions, and they do have Earth 1, so alchemists are getting 3 towns. Giants cut across here. They will get a bridge probably this round. Giants continue to float B4. And I think that with this type of points lead, Giants look quite good right now. I imagine that they probably want a trading post on G5, G8 of course. And then they might, well, so I'm trying to figure out if Giants can afford to try to connect this game. Like, the only thing that's not connected is this stronghold. They already have the 1 shipping that they need to connect everything else, but the stronghold requires this hex and 3 ship. And they still need B4 to form their town. So, given the way things look, I think that it's probably correct for Giants to abandon the stronghold, which I suppose was always part of the plan, right? Like, you were never really connecting the stronghold. You were never expecting to connect the stronghold when D6 was going to go and D8 was like highly likely to go as well early. Nomads choose not to build more dwellings. Instead, they just pass for this tile. I think that this makes a lot of sense. Now, what I don't like about this, right, is that Nomads, they aren't connecting, so why are they advancing ship other than for scoring points? But the other part, and like, so why don't you just build your dwellings in the dwellings round? But the thing is, they don't have Earth 1, so like, they don't really care about building more dwellings anyway. They can now open next round the Temple for Fire 2, take both cult towns, and therefore, you know, just hit the end zone in the fire track. Yeah, Fire 2 plus 2 cult towns takes them up here. They obviously don't need the coins action. Then they can just like temple for Air 1 and make trading posts, or advance their digs, advance their ships. I guess they're going to be advancing their ships, right? I would think that it's probably 2 cult towns and probably the priest town, right? 2 cult towns and the priest town. Then they just advance ship 3 times. It's a very, very high scoring way for Nomads to play. I don't know if it's enough to win the game without any network points and with kind of mediocre cult points, but we'll see. It does look like, in my opinion, I think that Giants are probably likely to beat them. Giants are going to beat Witches on network for sure. It does look like Alchemists found a way to win network, so that's cool for Alchemists. Giants didn't pass. Yeah, Giants really wanted to secure their bridge early, I guess. It looks like Matt's getting his bridge too. I don't see any reason for anyone to bridge block here. This is like, this really should just be Fire 2 for 2 cult towns, right? Maybe I'm overvaluing the cult towns. Like you think that Giants could have gotten the bridge in round 6? Yeah, I think that they could have. They were just like they were a little slow on the trigger. Like, they just wanted everything. And I think that, to be fair, like, they did get everything that they wanted. Giants, I don't know if this is like a huge issue. I don't know if anyone's that interested in blocking Giants, but this hex here, Giants don't have a TP or a dwelling. So, I think that might cause an issue for Giants here. Like, Witches, I don't know if this town is happening for Witches. I really don't. It would require, like, a very, very expensive dig. They already would need fire two, and then two expensive trading posts. I don't know. I mean, witches actually technically do have the stuff to do that. So maybe witches are too concerned about doing their own stuff, but witches could easily just like dig B4 if they think that they're in contention and like they think that giants are winning. Giants get this town and they are winning probably, but they don't have a pass tile, so that's an issue. What do nomads do? Nomads bridge block. Wow, that's that seems a little insane, right? Yeah, Matt's saying I don't think that I'm the one threatening you. Yeah, I agree with that. That seems wild to me. Now haligh gets both of the 8 pointers. That seems like a huge mistake by nomads. Um, am I like? Yeah, I think that's a huge mistake by nomads. Nomads could have had both 8 pointers. I mean, I think that this town was always a stretch goal for Matt anyway, like the E7 town. But now it's like now that Matt doesn't need this bridge, seems like an obvious town for him. So I think that probably what Matt should just do is just go ahead and fire two block nomads, right? Um, I mean, nomads don't need fire two, but it's very helpful for their town tempo, and now they have none. Um, Yeah, Matt can just grab Fire 2, take whatever town he wants. Probably needs Fire 2 in order to make this second town anyway. Yep, here it is. Giants take the leech right away. It is Fire 2. And probably just a priest town or something. Oh, he doesn't have space to take priests. Um, the two key town is actually like pretty good economy here, but I think there might not be enough points. Like it's not points on water, it's not points on fire, it's barely any points on earth even. In which case, just the 11 pointer. Can you force just take the 11 pointer? I think you can. Just spend 6 workers on this dig and then like make 2 expensive trading posts and then yeah, just take a ship town or something to connect here. I don't know. This Fire 2, like the one thing that makes this Fire 2 a little rough for witches is that they're on the trading post tile. So ideally they would like to have 4 TPs at the end. But right now I think that their game plan involves 3 TPs at the end. Yeah, this he takes a coin town. Okay, so he has dig advanced dreams or something. Yeah, it seemed like a really, really shaky call to bridge block there. I don't like that call from nomads at all. I think that it was the wrong person to target. Like giants take the coins. Okay, so nomads might be able to still get fire 2 at least. And then they can probably just take 2 priests and the 11 pointer, I guess. Here's fire 2. I have to assume that it's 2 priests and the 11 pointer here. Priest 1. Yeah, because they don't really benefit from building stuff. They don't have Earth 1, they don't have connection. All that they really want is to advance ship and advance digs with their last one. Can Giants 3 town without fire 2? I think Giants can. Actually, that was probably a hasty thing for me to say, right? Giants. So let's say that they temple here for air 1. Then they trading post. That's 1 town. Then they dig out E7. That's another town. No, I don't think Giants can 3 town anymore. That seems like a tremendous mistake from Giants not to take Fire 2, right? Yeah. Yeah. They've built too many structures outside of their towns in order to try to counter that Fire 2 now. So I think that we've seen nomads make a big mistake. We've seen witches make a big mistake, and we've seen giants make a big mistake. Alchemist's biggest mistake, I thought, was rushing for Earth 1 early. They wound up losing Water 1 because of that decision as well. But otherwise, I think that Alchemist had actually played like a reasonable game. It's just that being an Alchemist is like kind of rough. I mean, they can still do it, right? Like I think that we said something about haligh needing 1, 2. So haligh wants to advance digs twice. Then wants to just build out 3 dwellings. Oh, also needs a TP in there. So it's going to be 4 workers for the dig advances, 2 workers for this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think that he has the stuff to do it. Yeah. So Giants taking the coins there, I think. Like both the bridge block and the coin stake, I think, were bad calls here. Now firexed winds up being okay because, I mean, 3 good towns were still left. But I think that if Giants had taken Fire 2 and then taken the 11 pointer in the Priest Town, then like suddenly the options for nomads are a lot worse. I thought that 2 8-pointers was good because you could secure fire. But this winds up being fine. Like two priests and the 11 pointer are still pretty good. So, or it's better than pretty good. It's pretty amazing. So, just in terms of like what are we actually seeing here, right? Witches did not advance their ships. They just hard dug this guy down. It's a little rough, but you know I think Matt's played a pretty good game. I'm still not really sure why he took the coin town. I guess he still wants to connect, right? He still wants to connect so that he can beat nomads on network, but he also doesn't need to connect to beat nomads on network, to be fair. Yeah, nomads building out to 7 structures doesn't make it. I guess C1, B2 would be so cheap for network points that you could just do it. So chickens, you think that giants can do this? That seems kind of insane to me. Like, so giants' next move is to secure this hex, right? And then they build temple and trading post to finish up another town. And then they do temple trading post again, or they can use this to dig down another dwelling. So they get down to 1 structure on their board. That is possible. It is technically possible. If they do manage to do that, then they would probably be competitive for first. I do think that right now, I would lean toward Alchemists are winning this game. All temples and TPs, without using Act 6 for dig. Interesting. Okay, here comes the Alchemists. They're making their 3rd town. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, they have exactly the workers that they need already. Which means that they no longer need to be taking BG there. They clearly have the coins that they need. Yeah, I think Alchemists look quite good for first here. firexed will have like the biggest number of victory points at the end of the game, it seems like. We're going to get maybe 2 trading posts worth of TPs from Giants. Yeah, okay, so Giants do have this. They're going to make temple trading post. Then they could take maybe like a power town or something, right? Or even like Earth 3 should give them some power. Air 3 should definitely give them power. So with temple trading post, then they use this guy, and then they dig down one of these hexes here, and then this is a town as well. So that would be 5 points of favors, plus let's call it 21 points of towns. So they would be like around 120 at the end of the game. They would have air 1, so that's 124. They would be second in network, or they would probably tie for network with alchemists. So that's like 140 plus pretty okay cult performance. Let's call it like 12 points. Maybe, yeah, like this might tie, so we'll call it like 14 points. So like we're looking like 154 maybe for Giants. Nomads have one more ship advance coming, and like they have a dig advance coming. So the Nomads took air 1 for like a few other ways to make points. So we're gonna see like this, and then this. Probably no dig advance then. So 6 more points plus the ship advance is going to be around 10 more points for Nomads. 139. Then they passed for 13, 152. Okay, so I guess Nomads do have Giants, despite having very few endgame points. So, Jekyll, you think witches are good on Fire and Ice with the strongholds? Yeah. So they lost D3 to Nomads. That is definitely true. You think that double digging in round 1 was a mistake? I completely agree with you. Like in hindsight. Now that said, like it seems strong for them to do this. However, I basically think that digging D6 in round 1 is almost always a mistake for witches. I pretty much like this hurts black to take D6, but I pretty much never see witches winning a game where they dig D6 in round 1. That's just like my anecdotal experience on this map. Zakab, you think that in this matchup, greens disappear too fast? Interesting. I think that like it is notable that one of the biggest weaknesses that happened here was that witches kind of like witches had like a great opening if they got temp ship, but temp ship was super highly contested in round 1. Like all 3 other factions could have used temp ship. Witches did want a stronghold so that they could get out to D3, and then they could town here. But I mean, like, say if they get this bridge, then they still have 3 towns, right? Like, let's say that you don't need this guy to make your town. You can just town here, here, and here. Even so, like, I think like Witch's biggest issues were, yes, the double dig in round 1, but then I also think that rushing water 1 with this E4 was probably a mistake. You guys think that, Zakab, you think that Witches needed some, yeah, like clearly Witches were being bid as if they were going to win network, or like perform very well in network, 12 points on network at least. But yeah, like against Giants, G6 is like pretty tough to count on. And against the Stronghold Nomads, D3 was tough to count on. But nonetheless, you would still be able to expect them to do a little better than this, I think. Like they lost this one hex and then this hex, right? Like I guess D3 like contained these hexes as well, but if Matt were like really playing super economically, then he could have still tried to town through here, right? Now maybe you don't get connection there, but you know G1 is only 3 ship away from F3, and then this is very cheap dig wise. Now I guess you didn't know that Giants were never going to give you this neighbor, but this is about as cheap as this town, right? So it looks like Matt is last year. I agree. I think that Witches kind of got killed here. It's not entirely Matt's fault, but it's also not a great spot to be in for him. So I think that we determined that Giants, even with 2 towns, don't have quite enough points to catch Nomad. Even with 2 towns and network, they don't have quite enough points to catch Nomads here. Which means that we should go ahead and look at Alchemist endgame points. So alchemists are going to make another town. That town will be worth 10 points. They're going to get Earth 1 points as well. They're going to get 22 points on the cults. So we're looking at 12 points, or sorry, 11 points, 13 points, 13 points in the game. They'll pass with a bunch of resource, they'll advance ship for 4, 17, let's call it like 3 resource points as well, 20, so that's 126, pass for 8, 134, tie for network, plus these cults. I think that they are ahead of nomads. So I think that Water 2 Alchemists do have this. And I think that between this game and the game that Zivok played where he won, I think that water cult rewards on Fire and Ice, good sign for Alchemists. Good sign to open Water 2. Being able to get Earth 1, very strong. I do think that saving, like making a second temple and waiting for Water 1 was fine as well. The early TPs wound up helping here, and I think that late dig advances is probably key on Fire and Ice for Alchemists here. You can't advance your digs in like round 4 as easily on this map, but that, just like halflings, like you can kind of put that off late and still get like pretty well rewarded for it. So actually, did I underestimate Nomad's points here? No, Nomads have no stuff left. Okay, so they're passing for 12, 154, 158, 160, 160 points. Maybe they'll lose this hex to Giants. Oh, I think this is a mistake from Giants. I think that Giants wanted to get one more network. I thought that they were supposed to use this double spade for this town, and up here, that gives maybe 3 more points to haligh for network. Yeah, Giants don't have 3 ships, so they can't hit another natural red. Yeah, I think that might be an iffy decision there from Giants. Haligh is just deciding to make this town now. I think that he can probably slow play and just dig A1 once, so that he can convert 4 power into coins before taking the power town. I guess there's also a chance that haligh just wants the ship town over the power town. That wouldn't be too crazy either. You think that they need the ship town? I mean, they don't need the ship town, right? Like, they could take the power town and then do a 5 power priest. But a 5 power priest feels like a bad use of those resources. So probably the ship town is better. Agreed. You think without the bridge block, Nomads would have been extremely close to Alex? Yeah, I mean, I think that Nomads are extremely close to Alex regardless, right? Like, Nomads are at 160 here. Haligh's endgame points. Well, I also think that Giants needed to not make this mistake, right? Giants made a mistake not getting to use this double dig to build another dwelling in this town. I think that this was supposed to end with 1 temple on Giants board instead of 2 dwellings. But that's 3 points that Alchemist got there. Yeah, like, think about that 3 power, right? That 3 power is also the difference between making this H6 trading post, right? Like, if he just had 3 power now, then he could make another trading post for 3 points. So that 3 power is at least 3 points of mistake. So, yeah, Giants are just going to advance their ship here, which seems fine. Also, I guess I've underestimated Giants' points by a bit. They're going to have 12, 4, plus 4 is 128, plus 12, 140. Then, no, 155, yeah, so Nomads are ahead. Here's haligh finally making its town, um, and it is the ship town indeed. So haligh is just going to have a whole bunch of resource points left over, I guess. Um, maybe temples. No, there's nothing. There's nothing worth templing for. Earth 3 is gone. Yeah. So haligh is going to pass um, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resource points. 126, 134, plus 22, 150. Okay, so it's not that close. You're right. You're right. Okay, it's not that close. Um, Alchemists actually win by a pretty good margin here. But yeah, like let's say that. Yeah, I do think that um, it was probably better for nomads to just take fire 2 and then, as we discussed, uh, just take the 2 8-pointers along with like a priest town, as opposed to 2 priest towns and 11-pointer. The swing against alchemists was significant, I think. It's possible that like dig advancing was also good for nomads there, but like instead of doing this air 1 stuff, well, that's probably a smaller detail. Here's the great tallying. So despite the rejected leech from alchemists, they still managed to win this game pretty cleanly, right? Yeah. Um, as for Giants, I think that their biggest mistake, like, so they definitely made a mistake by not tying Alchemist on network. But I also think that like this, a lot of this awkwardness could have just been avoided if they had just taken fire 2. Like maybe the coins was too important, but um, yeah, like they could have avoided some awkwardness at the end there. Yeah. It's a very, very strong Alchemist performance. I think it's really cool. I think Halai's like a really cool player. Does a lot of really cool things. Alchemists are also just so hard to gauge because they can make so many points at the end of the game. As you guys pointed out, he did not have Water 1. Whenever they do have Water 2, you always suspect that it's George Shortwell. Yeah, that's funny. It was a pretty quick game. I think that it was a really interesting one to watch. It's Jekyll was outraged that alchemists were being so underrated here, and I think that this is obviously proving you correctly. You think that I'm Barnwell? How could I be Barnwell? Barnwell is really good. I have not played that well lately. Um, yeah, I think that this is a really cool game. Thanks everyone for watching and chatting. I guess we can do like a quick recap here. Alchemists converted 36 times, so that's like I would say that's actually, or 33 times. I don't think that's crazy. I think that's like a pretty, actually like slightly below average amount of times to convert for alchemists. I think that that has a lot to do with the early TPs, early stronghold and round 4 TPs that he made all of them. So that had a lot to do with it. Only 8 points paid in leech, thanks to some unintentional play at the beginning. I think this is a bit of a mistake. Like this shouldn't have happened, but it did. And then, yeah, Water 2 allowed them to win both the cults and um, and get all these towns and network. Just very cool. Got 22 Earth 1 points. I still think that the Earth 1 rush was a bit of a mistake, but because Alchemists were still able to get their 3 towns and win network, like, it's hard to criticize that much. Huge, like, scoring game for everyone, other than Witches, who still did pretty well. Witches still had 2 towns in round 6, but I do think that the early Sanctuary cost them a lot of trading post points and potentially like network and 3rd town points. So I think that that's about it for here. Yeah. So thank you everyone for chatting. Thanks everyone for watching. I think it was a really fun game to watch, fun game to cast. So I will see you all next time. And just uh, keep paying attention to the Terra Mystica Tuesday League stuff. They always have cool tournaments going on, and you can always get cool matches there. So see y'all.